All right, let's talk first about this branding deal, because this is the news that was just announced this morning. This is a branding deal with ABG, and as I understand it, you're going to be paying somewhere between $100 million and $250 million in cash and stock for the exclusive rights to be commercializing cannabis-infused products for ABG's portfolio. What does that mean? What kind of things will you be developing?
So we found a great partner in Authentic Brands Group. They own over 50 iconic brands. They have their products in over 100,000 points of sale, over 4,500 freestanding and shop-in-shops around the world. And so if you could imagine a Nine West foot cream where we put samples in over 1 million pairs of shoes that are sold by them every year, it introduces new consumers to cannabis-based products, CBD primarily. With the passage of the Farm Bill, we're hoping to move very quickly to get these products into market. And our thesis is that brands matter, and no one knows brands better than ABG.
They've got brands like Nine West, as you mentioned, Greg Norman, a lot of different companies and names that are familiar to consumers. What kind of products, aside from like a foot cream, do you anticipate? What things do you see cannabis-infused products being?
You could imagine a Greg Norman muscle balm. They own Prince, a tennis brand. You could imagine a tennis elbow cream. They own Juicy Couture, so you could imagine a beauty or a cosmetics product branded Juicy Couture, powered by Tilray, that will introduce consumers to cannabis-based products.
How big of a business do you expect this will be? Is this a side business for you, or does this become as big as your main product line of cannabis itself?
You know, we've partnered. We've already announced partnerships with ABI, the world's largest brewer. We've announced a partnership with the Sandoz unit of Novartis, the world's largest, or one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And no one knows brands better than ABG. I think they're second only to Disney in terms of retail brand licensing revenue. They generate over $9 billion annually in products sold. And so we think that we can introduce significant revenue into our revenue stream from this partnership.
Hi, it's Noah Blackstein here. I was just wondering, it looks like it's a $100 million deal up front, then $250 million you're going to spend. You also announced a commitment to hemp in New York State of $100 million. So, you know, I'm just curious in terms of your capital needs over the next few years. I know Privateer isn't selling, but those are some pretty huge capital commitments that you're making on your existing revenue base, negative EBITDA. Can you talk about how you're planning on financing these things? Do you need to do another share offering, or how do you think this is going to be financed going forward, or financed?
So we don't currently have plans to raise additional capital. We raised $150 million in our IPO. We did a convert back in October, where we raised an additional $450 million. So our balance sheet is healthy. The $100 million investment into New York wasn't us. That was investment by Constellation and a hemp farm. But we're confident that we can continue to arrange additional partnerships and continue to expand our footprint globally with the balance sheet we have.
For how long do you think this balance sheet can carry you? The next couple of years?
At least for the next year. You know, our share price is healthy, and we've been approached by lots of different opportunities to improve our balance sheet if needed.
What does that mean?
So additional, there's a potential for, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now. We've been approached by additional potential strategic investors. There's additional investment from non-strategic, so private equity firms would be an option, as well as additional share offerings.
Let's talk a little bit about the lockup. We did see your stock up by about 20% after it was announced last week that Privateer would not be selling its stock in the next 6 months. That's a big deal for the markets. How does that kind of play out? Can you speak from your role as Privateer to what the plan might be in terms of ever selling any of those shares?
So there's lots of different options there. The main objective would be an orderly and patient distribution to Privateer shareholders. But there's, as was mentioned in the release, on Friday. There's no intent to sell, distribute, or register those shares in the first half of 2019. So Privateer believes in the long-term viability of this new sector. We've been doing this for 8.5 years. We're very patient, and we believe that it's a massive global opportunity that's still in its very early days.
Right. Hey, Brendan, separate question. Privateer and Tilray spent a lot of money lobbying in the United States over cannabis for quite some time. There was a report earlier this year that you've stopped lobbying in the United States. Is that true?
We lobby occasionally in the U.S., not so much on a state-by-state basis anymore, primarily with the federal government in D.C. A majority of Congress now comes from a district where either medical cannabis or cannabis for adult use is legal, and so that's an important point to convey to congressional leaders.
And how much are you lobbying, though, around the financial system in terms of payment? Because payment processing is a huge issue related to cannabis.
Not a whole lot. The banks, the investment banks are doing a lot of that lobbying for us. Global partners are doing a lot of that lobbying for us. And so for us, it's a matter of just being patient and watching and waiting for new regulations, new clarity to emerge. And it seems like this is one issue where both sides in Congress are in agreement that something needs to be fixed here.
Hey, Brendan, your stock is up about 4.6% right now. We pointed out that it was up more than 20% on Friday based on the news that you would not be selling from Privateer into the lockup expiration. We did have Bruce Linton from CANNABIS speaking with Jim Cramer's Mad Money back in September. He made some comments about Tilray, just saying that although the stock run has been impressive, Canopy Growth has the largest production capacity in the industry. It has by far the largest inventory, the most supply contracts signed. The balance sheet, they say, is second to none. They're the only cannabis company in the industry that's been working on beverages for the last 3 years, including that initial partnership with Constellation Brands. Are there room for lots of players in this industry, or do you think it's going to be a winner-takes-all?
I don't think it's going to be winner-take-all. I think that Constellation and Altria effectively came in and bought 2 of our competitors in Canada. With our partnership, our agreement with the Sandoz unit of Novartis, with ABI, now with Authentic Brands Group, we have great global partners, and I couldn't be more pleased to control our own destiny like we do today. As I mentioned earlier, it's early days in this industry, and we're not interested in giving up control today.